Hey, okay, so yeah, let's talk about Christian Bale's look in this new movie, this upcoming movie. But actually, I want to talk about these people who are defending this look. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be a fan of something, but I do want to address the fact that there are people who are not genuine fans. We are actually seeing that right now with the Amazon Rings of Power, where they say they're super fans and they don't know anything about Tolkien. It's been proven. They're being called out, and it's like the more that they're being called out, it's like they're trying to prove it more that they know this thing, this subject, I should say. Well, I saw it also with Star Wars. It was like the Raylos showed up and it was, fine. You went and you saw Star Wars and you wanted these two characters to be together, but why did you suddenly go into bully mode and start attacking fans that saw the first Star Wars in 1977? See, that's overkill. And you've turned this into I mean, you've stop it. Get help. When you're taking a fictional thing and making it your personality, that's just weird. Like, yeah, I like Star Wars, but I don't think about it 24/7. Okay. I like My Chemical Romance, but I don't listen to it all the time. Okay. I do need a break sometimes from listening to Gerard's voice. Like, I came across this quite a bit when I was an administrator over on MySpace because you had the movies, like we were between uh the second movie and the third movie of the prequels for Star Wars, because the third movie came out in 2005 and Attack of the Clones is celebrating 20th anniversary this year. So you also had Harry Potter, Narnia, Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean. And so you had these movies with hardcore fans. Well, then you had these people who they would try to gain popularity by faking their way through it. They didn't know anything else, so they just would insert themselves and basically Wikipedia characters and everything else and try to gain popularity. That so then they would go head to head with these hardcore, just like what we're seeing with the Rings of Power. They would, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of where people are with like the reaction channels and everything, they're talking about Nerdrotic. Nerdrotic knows a lot about Lord of the Rings. Well, I have a friend who he knows a lot about Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. Look, I grew up on Lord of the Rings, and I don't even know half of what he knows. And but the point is that these so-called super fans are actually trying to say that they know more than people like Nerdrotic and my friend and even myself. No, you don't. Because the more that they talk, and they just keep talking. Well, I saw the same thing when I was an administrator. They just keep talking. They can't shut up. They can't take the L, so to speak, which means lose. They just won't step back and decide and and the more that they talk, the more that they prove themselves to be the loser. Because the ones that are the genuine fans, it's kind of like in 8 Mile, where Eminem is thought to be the stupid one, and he just proves to blow everyone out of the water. It's the same thing. You know, the genuine fans are Eminem. Because the other ones just can't stop talking. Anyway, and I'm coming across that. I mean, I saw, like I said, I saw it with Star Wars. We're seeing that with Rings of Power. And we're seeing that, I'm seeing that a lot. There, all of a sudden, there's all these Christian Bale fans. See, they insert themselves. They can't help it, but they don't know anything about this. Look, I've followed Christian Bale's career since 1992. I haven't seen every single movie that he's done. I know bits and pieces about his career. Even with, I mean, I posted a big thing about him about a month, well, maybe 2 weeks ago. And I basically told off this one person that was trying to tell me, I don't know how old this person is, probably in their 20s, who was trying to tell me that they knew more than I did about Christian Bale. And I basically was like, you know, in the 90s, he was pushed in the shadows of Leonardo DiCaprio because Leonardo DiCaprio was the big star. You know, he's a big heartthrob, big star. Everybody wanted him. In fact, Leonardo DiCaprio was the first choice for American Psycho. And the studio fought with that, but the director, I believe it was the director, really wanted Christian Bale and continued to fight to have Christian Bale in that movie. And like the big problem that the studio had was Christian Bale's accent. And she says, we can work around that. This person did not know that. And right now they're trying to do this big act that they're a big fan of American Psycho, that they've always loved American Psycho, but at the same time, they're a big advocate for animals. They said they're against animal cruelty. And it's like, well, if you watch the movie, you would be against the movie because of the whole scene where Patrick Bateman shoves the cat in the ATM machine. So they never watched the movie. See, that's again, it's just like the super fans for Tolkien. This person is just like that. They say things and do things. They catch themselves all the time. And it's, when it comes to the Christian Bale super fans, they only know Batman, maybe American Psycho, and Newsies. Possibly another movie, you know, maybe like Machinist, or like recently Ford versus Ferrari. I mean, like it depends on what fan base you're talking to. But like it's usually just 4 movies. And when it comes to the trivia, they don't know. Like, some people say that he never did voice acting. Yes, he did. He did voice acting as far back as 1995. He was the voice of Thomas in Pocahontas. Why do people fight me on that? Oh my gosh. He's on the cast. Oh, fuck. I mean, the, I even had somebody where they're like, I would respect him a lot better if he did romantic comedies. And it's like, you know what? He hasn't done any kind of romantic anything since he got married. So that should give you a clue right there. And I actually respect him for that. So for somebody who's such a hardcore fan, they can't fit the pieces together on that. It's like, I don't know. Ugh. So yeah, there are these super fans who self-insert. They try to say that they know everything about a subject, and they really don't. I've been following Christian Bale's, well, sort of. I remember when the first Pirates movie came out, and it came out that Christian Bale was actually the first choice for Will Turner. I freaked out. I was like, Christian could have been in this movie? Holy shit. I'm actually glad that he wasn't, though, because the chemistry between Johnny Depp and Orlando Bloom was perfect. Was absolutely perfect. And I don't think that it would have worked. I think that it would have been, I don't know. I can't see Christian and Johnny Depp having the same uh kind of banter as Orlando. And yeah, I don't know. Um look, I love the guy. I always will. I love Christian, but I don't think he would have fit in that movie. I really don't. And so I don't think that that kind of movie is for him. And so but yeah, it's yeah, I can't stand the fans that self-insert. They obviously don't know anything about it, but they do this for popularity, and you need to stop. Why can't you be actual genuine, like Nerdrotic with Tolkien, like with me with Newsies. I love Newsies. I love Gladiator. Oh my gosh, Gladiator. I love me some Gladiator. That was the other thing is, okay, we'll get to that. But this is what's happening with this look, is that there are fans, genuine fans of Gorr, the God Butcher, who just they hate it. Hey, I hate it. I, I think it's terrible. I think it's a terrible look, and everything. And I have had people actually get upset with me, and I'm like, no, this isn't a Christian Bale fan upset with the studio making Christian Bale look bad. No, this is, I could care less. He's getting his paycheck. That's fine. He took the job. It's fine. No, they half-assed it. This is the same studio that gave us Red Skull, Hugo Weaving. Remember 11 years ago where Hugo Weaving was Red Skull? It looked like Red Skull. This does not look like Gorr. Come on, man. But you have these self-inserts that are yelling and screeching and say, oh my gosh, no, Christian Bale looks just fine. And it's like, no, he doesn't. I've been following his career since 1992, sort of. Seriously, I'm not going to make his career or his life my personality. I'm not Ed Gein, for gosh sakes. Stop it. You need help. I got better things to do. Ugh, that's weird. I don't get that. But yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of the guy, but I mean, I have my own opinions on it. I'm not going to like every single thing that he does. I haven't even seen every single movie that he made. Seriously. And I think that this choice of costume, this look is gross. It's absolutely, it's just bad. Let me give you a clue. Okay, one of my other movies, it's a guilty pleasure of mine. It's the live action Masters of the Universe. Skeletor in that movie looks better than this because you look at it and it is Skeletor. I agree with everyone that is saying that this is an Uncle Fester cosplay. You go down the list of movies over the year from like the 80s into the 2000s up to 11 years ago when we had Red Skull. I mean, the 80s we had fantasy movies. Tim Curry as Satan in Legend. You think of that painful prosthetic that he had to wear, the pounds of makeup that all these actors and actresses had to wear for all these iconic characters, the fantasy characters and everything, just like with Red Skull, not Red Skull, with Skeletor. And with the, I also have to think of in the 70s, there was Tales from the Crypt and Peter Cushing. And he had all this makeup look and everything. And so you even go back to the classic Hollywood years and some of the makeup and everything that they used. And you're seriously going to tell me that this is the best that you can do? Someone mentioned, and I agreed with them. I actually commented on their was Davy Jones in 2006. It was, I think that one is Dead Man's Chest. And when Davy Jones appeared, and I mean, there's CGI and prosthetics and makeup that you can use. Please. During the 2000s, we saw orcs. We saw, I'm not as familiar with the Harry Potter franchise. I wasn't as interested in that, but the Narnia characters. And of course, then we started seeing more characters in, we were between, well, even in Star Wars. Because in Star Wars, we were between, because it just did the 20th anniversary last week. It just, I don't believe that this is the best that you can do. It's no, that's I disincline to acquiesce to your request. That's just not possible. With all the CGI and everything. Someone actually tried to tell me, because I posted this uh on my Facebook, and someone actually said to me, well, he changes when he kills gods. That's just phase one. Yeah, I know. I read I know the comic. I understand that he transforms. I've seen just no, this is just an awful look all around. And the fact that Tim Curry wore the painful prosthetics on his head. And I remember there was they did a reunion for Splash, and she talked about how she still has a scar from wearing the prosthetics for the for the fin and everything from when they had to do the bathtub scene and everything. Yeah, she was laughing about that. She says, oh, that scene was so, I still have a scar on my foot and everything. I mean, over the years, actors and actresses, the horror actors, and just like Peter Cushing when he was in Tales from the, yes, in the 70s, there was like a TV movie that was Tales from the Crypt. It was BBC, and it's a good movie. I've seen it. Of course, I'm a fan of Peter Cushing, so. But wearing all the makeup and everything else. And so you go back to the classic film and everything. I mean, even probably if I were to go through the silent film and look at some of the makeup that they did, So it's not just, but this is not the best that you can do. And for all the people that are defending it, I think you need to do some more research on Skeletor look like Skeletor. Yes, the movie is corny, and I'll be the first to tell you it's a guilty pleasure of mine. But Skeletor looks like Skeletor. Red Skull looks like Red Skull, and that was just 11 years ago. And Marvel made it. Okay. You have all these mythical creatures. In the early 2000s, we saw all these mythical creatures and everything else. Davy Jones was menacing but magnificent. I mean, I thought that was very well done. He looked polished. He looked real. They did a fantastic job on Davy Jones. This is just crap. And like I said, I'm a fan of Christian Bale, love the guy. This is not a fangirl upset with how Christian Bale looks. No, he'll get his paycheck and and move on. But this is me upset with Marvel trying to pass this off as the best that they could do. This is not the best you can do. 11 years ago, Hugo Weaving looked like Red Skull. He looked like how Red Skull looked in the comics. This is absolutely pathetic. And so anyway, this is how I feel about it in general. And I did a video, a movie. I did a video, I think it was about 4 years ago, where I talked about Christian Bale possibly in Star Wars. I wish they had gone that route. I mean, like, they're putting all these big names in Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian and all that. Should have put him in there, and instead of him looking like this. Anyway, I will not see this movie. I mean, even Russell Crowe is in this movie. These two names, they're reunited because they did a 310 to Yuma. They're reunited, and I just have no interest in this trash fire. I just don't. And so that's how I feel.